this is going.
Oh, you're recording already?
Well,
Okay.
want me to wait?
Yep,
Just
go.
no curse words right now.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Be nice, everybody.
All right, thank you. All right. So today we're going over inputting your properties into the MLS. So we've kind of made a little bit of an order of things. So last week was how we kind of went through the house with the homeowner and marked all, did all the measurements and all of that kind of stuff. So now you take that information and you plug it into here. So with that, you'll have two packets. One is your MLS sheet that you should have, the tax record, and then the MLS data sheet that you print from the transaction desk, and then you take to your listings to mark everything about the house. So you'll bring that when you come to sit down, and then you log into your MLS system. And I guess the best way to do it is, let's start here where it says putting your property on the MLS. The last class we talked about is hiring a photographer. He's gonna come and take the pictures. You're gonna do all your measurements during that time. Well, it'll take him 24 to 48 hours to get the photos back to you. So while he's doing that is when I usually put my property in MLS. So you're gonna go to the MLS, and then there's a very top here, add/edit. You're gonna click on that. And I'm gonna walk it through partly like as if I'm putting in a new listing, and then I'll go to one that I already have so you can kind of see how it looks. So there's a drop down here that, it says add a new one or existing one. This drop down is for anything that you've already currently put in there. So when I'm adding a new one, I always just go to add new. And then there's residential listing input, high rise, multiple dwelling, vacant land. So most of the time it's gonna be your residential listing input. You click on that.
So,
And then
I'm sorry, like on my, I usually use my phone, on the desktop, I don't see the same, quite the same menu. Where do I,
add it in.
oh, add this one?
Yep, the top. So in here, I'm only gonna be able to do so much because the tax record I pulled out is, for one that I already have, actually. No, actually, maybe I can't, maybe I'll try it. No, I don't wanna try it just yet. But anyways, okay, so I was just thinking out loud. So what we're gonna do is we have to, you're gonna follow the prompts. The first one is adding the parcel number. Once you add the parcel number and you hit fill, all of this stuff that's coming from the tax record is gonna auto-populate into there. And then, actually no, I take that back. You're gonna hit the parcel number and then you're gonna hit search. Once you do that, it'll give you the parcel number, you click on the parcel number, and then it fills all that stuff in there. I never go down to this, search pre-existing tax property record. So I just add the parcel number and hit fill, okay? And then it will bring you your parcel number, and then it'll auto-populate. So let's go back into, I'm gonna cancel this, and I'm gonna go back into one that I already have, so you can kind of see. So the steps for adding it is just adding the parcel number. Now let's go into one that I already have as existing. Okay, and then it'll pop up a screen like this. The picture won't be there because the photographer hasn't given them to us yet. But it'll have all this information, and it'll ask you what you wanna do. Residential listing input, change active, whatever. So that's when you'll go click on residential input. And then it brings you to this page here. So this kind of goes through the steps of you log in the MLS from the dashboard, you click add and edit and all of that, and then it auto-populates in there, and then you start filling. Anything in a yellow box needs to be filled in. They won't let you go live on the market if there's anything missing in those yellow boxes. The other boxes that are white are optional if you want to fill something in there. But I have to start by saying, do not ever copy another realtor's information, because what they put in there might not be correct, and most of the time it's not. And they won't measure the rooms, or they might be copying it from another realtor who copied it from another realtor, and it's just wrong. So because your name is associated with this and it's attached to this record, you want that to be coming from you. So with that,
How far out can you put the listing?
well,
You're putting it in before pictures, so you don't want it to go live yet.
yeah, you don't want it to go live yet because there's these little buttons at the bottom here. Validate, cancel the input, and submit listing. Well, what you would have there, because it's brand new, once it auto-populates there, is save as incomplete. But because this is an active listing, it only gives me the option of submitting the listing, because I'm just fixing and updating. But this blue button will say save as incomplete. Because if there's anything yellow, you can't go on the market. So anything yellow that hasn't been, and once it's all filled in, you'll get the submit listing. But if there's any yellow boxes not filled in, you're gonna get save as incomplete. So my thinking is I wanna do it right before I'm gonna go on the market, because it generates an MLS number. The older the number, the older the listing, right? So that's why I have the photographer go out, and then I know within 48 hours at the latest, I'm going on the market. So that's when I start doing it. Now, if you have a coming soon listing, which means you can do a coming soon listing for 30 days prior, but on that 30th day, it's going live regardless if you wanted to or not. You can only come and do coming soon for 30 days. I prefer not to do the coming soon, but then some agents prefer to that, hey, I just wanna let them know that it's coming. My thinking is, I don't know why, to me, when I'm ready, I don't take a listing that's not ready, and if it is ready, like, they might just be getting some stuff done. I don't want the excessive phone calls and things like that, because here's the thing is, technically when you're coming soon, you're not supposed to be showing it, it's not an active listing, it's just letting them know, hey, there's something that's gonna be hitting the market within 30 days or less. Then they're like, when's it coming? When can I go see it? And then they're just constantly calling you, and you're like, hey, it's just gonna be 24 hours, or it's not gonna be for another 30 days.
So, question, can you just do like a coming, because I like the coming soon, but not 30 days, maybe 5 days, 3 days, to
Yep.
get the excitement going, but then put it out there.
It doesn't really let them know when you're coming soon, like what day. So that's what I'm saying, is you would have to put in the remarks, we'll be on the market on this
Right.
day. Do they read that? I don't know all the time. So that's the thing, is like your phone is just ringing. If it's, just a day or two or whatever, like I just don't do it. It's just not something that I do. But, and I always take my listings, like I'll take one, I had the paperwork signed, say on Monday, and I know I'm hitting the market on Friday. So on my paperwork, my listing paperwork will have Friday's date on it. And then that way I'm doing the pictures, I'm cleaning, I'm doing whatever I gotta do, and then boom, it's on the market on Friday. I just myself don't do the coming soon, but you can, it's an option there. And that's what these dates are. So right up here, you're gonna enter your list date, which is the date it's going on the market, and then your expiration date. But here's the thing, is if you leave it blank, it will go on the minute this is all filled out and you hit submit listing. But if you put a date in there, say, what is it? Like November, because it's November 1st today. So if you put November 15th in there, that immediately makes it a coming soon listing. So I just leave that, listing date blank, and I just put the expiration date in there. Because it tell you on the market, leaving this field blank will set it to active the minute you hit submit. But don't worry, everybody gets freaked out about putting this stuff in here. It won't let you hit submit until all the yellow boxes are filled. Yeah, so it'll only give you the option of save as incomplete. So what I like to do is this little button on the bottom, I don't know if you can see it, Robert, but it says validate.
Yeah.
Every time, because these are different pages. General, features, rooms, financing. Every time I finish a page, I validate, so it saves, and then I'll go on to the next one, because there is a situation in here where if you time out, or if you forget to hit save and you just X out at the top, you're gonna log back in there, and it's gonna give you the option to restore or discard, and you're like, and we've all done it. We've hit discard, and everything's gone. Because you're like, am I just discarding what like the last, it's so super confusing. It should say totally delete, but it doesn't. So if you were gonna wanna hit restore at that point, but I just validate, make sure it's all good, and I'll usually save as incomplete, and then log back in to go to the next page. So then that way I know that page is done, and I don't have to worry about it, right?
Excuse me though, but it won't let you save if you don't have a list date in there.
No, it will, yeah, so you don't have to fill out the list date, that's what I was saying. The list date is you're gonna put it in, if you put a date in there, it's a coming soon date.
Right.
But so like right now, if I'm putting this listing in there right this second and I know it's going live on Friday, I'm still gonna leave it blank.
But it will let you save without
Yeah,
that.
you just keep saving it as incomplete, save as incomplete, and then on Friday morning, I can put submit listing.
Got it.
That's it, and then now it's active. as opposed to doing the whole coming soon, because you'll need a whole nother form for a coming soon. And if that date changes, if you put coming soon on November 28th and you decide to go November 15th, guess what, you gotta do another form. So it's like you constantly have to keep up to date on those dates. So it's a lot, you know, so that's why I just leave it like that. So now most of this stuff in the general page right here will auto-populate. You will get down to, it'll ask you zoning, it'll ask you what kind of a build it is, and it's resale, to be built or under construction. So we know it's resale. And then it gets to the schools. So if you look in here, so we went through page 1. Okay, to determine the school, what it is zoned for, you must go to CCSD website. And all I do is I click over here, and I'm gonna show you guys. So I'm gonna go in here. So you know exactly where to go to get it, because you want the most accurate information. Because people are looking for homes just based around schools. Clark County School Zoning. Okay, so you're gonna go to school zoning, and it says zoning search. You're just gonna click on that. And then it'll ask you, and I'm gonna just put the street number, and then the street, or the house number and the street. And then you hit search. Don't put avenue, way, west, right, nothing. And it'll tell you which one. Okay, so I'm gonna just click on this. If it's a condo, because this one I'm doing right here is a condo, it will list every single condo in that complex. You have to find your number. Even though they're all the same, you need to find your number, okay? Just in case, because there are some subdivisions that are split in half, so you wanna make sure. It will tell you kindergarten, 9 months, and the school, okay, Bailey. Then it'll tell you 1st through 5th grade is still Bailey, 9 months. 6th through 8th grade is Courtney, and it's 9 months. We used to have 12 months, I don't think we have any 12-month schools here anymore. But then you go into high school as well. So basic, Courtney, and Bailey, okay? So you need to know those. So when you go back here, it'll ask you, school, elementary school, Bailey, elementary 3 to 5, Bailey, junior high, Courtney, whatever, right? And then it'll ask you if it's year-round. It's no longer yellow, but I always put it in there that it's not. Right here where it says community name, very slim chance you're gonna find the community that you're in. Because when you click on it, let's see. These are the only ones they give you to choose from in the whole valley. That's it. You know, every subdivision has its own name. So if you can't find what you're looking for in there, you're just gonna click none. It's yellow, something has to be filled in there, so click none. And then subdivision name, you can find that on your tax record. At the very top, right here on the second box, it'll say assessor description, Canyon Willow East, and then right above it, it says subdivision, Canyon Willow East. So that's what you're gonna put in there.
Can I ask you a question about the schools? So in new homes, we were never allowed to disclose those because they change. Is LDR have a disclosure in here, or?
No, what we're doing is we're listing it as of right now.
Okay.
And right now, that's what it's zoned for. There is a school, an area up in the northwest that it had 2 elementary schools back to back. And at one point, they were giving you options of choosing whichever one you wanted to, so it was double zoned, I know. I don't know if that's still the case, I don't have an elementary school child, so I don't look into that, but, could be.
But technically, the way that realtors are protected is it's as of the date that you look.
Yeah, so this is what I looked, I went to CCSD, and that's why it's super important, and you can even screenshot that and put it in your file, just so it shows, you looked, this is what it said, because schools do get zoned. They usually get rezoned in the summer, so we don't have this issue, but, people are buying and selling in the summer.
Do most people in the MLS, most realtors have that correct?
They should. But again, if they're just copying somebody else's information who is wrong, that's why I say never do it, because you're responsible. It says it's not, I don't even have it in here, but it's not guaranteed, because people are just, doing whatever they wanna do in there, but you should. I always tell my clients, if they're looking for a specific school district, I will type it in there, and their MLS search, and then every time they say they're interested in a home, first thing I do is just double check. I just go to this website and double check, because I don't wanna waste time showing them the home, falling in love with it, and go, oh, you know what, this is right outside the boundary. People think they know the areas, oh, I live up there. doesn't mean that that's what it's actually zoned for. There's a street on Grand Teton. Once you cross over to Decatur going east, there are 3 different subdivisions, all zoned for these 3 different elementary schools.
Wow.
Same street, Grand Teton. This one is Triggs, no. That one is Kitty Ward. This one is Heckathorn, and the other one is Triggs. All on the same street. So, again, you don't know how they divided that up. So don't assume, don't ever assume. So then once I've finished all this stuff, I would validate, make sure I haven't missed anything in yellow, and then I would save as incomplete. I'd log back in, and make sure you log in each time you log out, and then you go to features. So now this features page here, that's pretty much everything you collected in your MLS data sheet. Most people, are finding out, didn't even know that this data sheet was available to us, but it's not as updated as we would like it, because it's over a couple years old or whatnot, but it gives you the majority of the information. So while you're taking the listing and you're doing measurements and everything, I take pictures of every room and then I fill it in there, because I'll forget to look if it had phone jack or the data communication lines. So if I'm standing in the door when I take a picture, at least I can see that until I get the actual pictures. But you're just gonna go down, anything that's yellow, it'll tell you, like this first one, association features, maximum, it'll let you put mark 24 out of these boxes. Whatever's included in the association. And it's almost like, if there's an HOA, you're gonna wanna put the CC and Rs, because most of them, any HOA, well, most HOAs, not all of them, but most of them will have CC and Rs. There's a clubhouse, there's a community pool, there's a spa, it's gated, it's guard gated, like you gotta just kind of go through that whole list for what you are. Is it 1-story, 2-story, 3-story? This one's a condo, so it's 2 stories. We're located on the 2nd level. But the description is, it is just 1 level itself. So it's a 2-story building. It's 1 level, but it's located on the 2nd level, so it's a little confusing, but you're gonna put in as much possible information there. Property description, that's up to you if you wanna mark anything because it's white. So I didn't mark anything in there because nothing applied to that. Then you're just gonna go down, and anything that is yellow, you're just gonna make sure that you put in there. Like here, like RV parking, we don't have it, but if I had marked yes, that's when they give you a little bit of drop down. Is it gated RV parking? Is it paved? Are there hookups? I'm like, you're just gonna click. Again, it's not yellow, so it's optional if you wanna add it, but the more information, the better when you have certain spots like this. Parking, this one's a condo, so it's important to note that it's signed covered parking, there's no garage, so you wanna put all of that. Roof description, everything in there. If it has a pool, is it above ground, is it ceramic, fiberglass, indoor, outdoor, and go through all that. Also, if you have a pool, it's gonna ask you the width. So it's completely optional, but it would be nice to know the width, because some people only want a diving pool. Some people only I don't want anything more than 4 feet because I have small children.
That's the width, it's not the depth.
The depth and the width.
It's only the
The
width.
width and the length. But then the depth is what I put in the MLS, the remarks, because people want that. Now the width and the length, if they built the pool themselves, we usually will have that. If not, I will bring a tape measure with me, and I'll say, do you mind getting on one side and I'll get on the other side? Because people, they wanna know, is it a lap pool, what's going on there, because people are very specific about their pools. So put as much information, even though it's not yellow, I say put it in there. Then you're gonna kinda go through here now, this next one here. This talks about, is the refrigerator included? Is the disposal included? Is the dishwasher included? Dishwasher, you notice it's not yellow, it's optional, because that's not a required appliance that, some people use it, some people don't. The other ones, washer, dryer, and another thing to note is when you're going through the properties, check that washer and dryer, don't just ask them, is it gas or electric or both? Because some houses were built with both, but some people, they're built with one or the other, and some people love their electric dryers, and they don't wanna get rid of it, and don't tell them that, hey, this agent said that it's electric. When you're viewing the home, lean over and say, hey, just so you know, because if they have an electric dryer, they usually tell you, is this gas or electric? I really love, I'm not getting rid of mine. They will buy a house around their electric dryer, which is whatever, but, they just love it so much. That's just what is important to them. So you wanna check, and then when you're doing the listing, you're gonna wanna check as well. Cause they have gas, electric, or both, so you wanna make sure that you put as much information in there as possible. Where is it, laundry room located, all that kind of stuff. Alarm system. So it says interior description, you can click up to 8. And if you notice, it's got alarm system owned, alarm system rented, alarm system wired. Wired just means that it's wired for it, but there's nothing set up in there. So it's kind of like a cap on there, but they want to know what goes along with that. If accessible features, are there bath grab bars, raised toilet? It's not yellow, but if you know, because they had somebody elderly in there that they kind of did some renovations to make it disability approved. So then you'll just kind of go through all of this. I'm trying to point out any of the ones that might be important. House views. Okay, so if you notice which direction the house faces is super important. People have like feng shui, there's a certain direction they want, but also I wake up and sit in my backyard. This is what they say. Sit in my backyard and have my coffee in the morning. They want the sun here. They don't want the sun over here. They like, I've got a pool, so I want the sun at night, in the afternoon. So they're very specific about which way their direction their house is. So make sure, as I'm driving up, I face my car at their house, and I'm like, okay, well, they're facing me, so if my car says I'm this direction, I make note of that before I even go in the house, because it is a question that people do come up with. I only want east-facing homes. Okay, so you will put it in there. You just gotta hope those realtors are right. And then, I'm trying to think anything else in here. Green features. Okay, so I know I noted that on here. So, page 2. Green building means it's completely energy efficient with solar panels and all the bells and whistles. Just because it has solar panels does not make it green, but it's all the other stuff. It's all, geez, I'm trying to even think. Energy efficient windows, low flow faucets in the toilets.
LED lighting.
Yeah, like it's just everything in there. And have things that you can mark off. Recycled building materials, that's a big one that makes it really a green feature. Then it has solar, turbines, windmill, that's what makes it green. The majority of the homes here in the valley are not gonna be green, so you're just gonna mark no. But then there's a certification just to deem it green. So you'll ask them if they say, oh, it's green, it's a green home. Okay, do you have a certification for that? Because they wanna know what year they got that certification. It's not just because, hey, I put solar panels on and I'm green. You're not, it's more than that. So I'll ask you that. There's also the Water Smart program. Are they involved in that? Because if they've removed their landscaping and put in desert, and then they took that allotment from the department, the Nevada Water Department Authority, that they now have a lien on their home, and they cannot put a pool or grass or anything in there without the buyer coming in and trying to buy that out. They have to repay to get to the use of that.
Oh, I didn't know that was an option, so you can repay it.
Sometimes they do. If you talk to them, I've heard no, but then once it's done, it's done. But then I talked to some lady a couple years ago at the Water Authority, and she's like, no, usually they just submit for it, and then they have to pay it back, whatever it is. I don't know if they charge more, but again, now they put some restrictions on the size of the pool, so they're gonna ask you, what are you doing with it? How much grass are you gonna put in? So they'll tell you. And then, again, if they gave them $3,500, but you just wanna put grass around a tree or a sitting area, they'll say, hey, you only have to pay this much back. So you just kind of maybe have to submit plans. I don't know what's involved in that, because I've never had anybody go back and do it. But from what I hear, a couple years ago, it was an option. So, and then this just talks about multi-gen, because we're building more and more homes multi-generational. So some of them will be the whole house with a hallway and a door that locks, and then once you open it, it goes into another like casita, living area, kitchen, all of that, separate entrances. So just kind of describe what all of that is about. Then I would hit validate, make sure I didn't miss any, and then I would save as complete, and then I'd go back in, and now you go to the rooms tab at the top. So let's see if I hit all my points on this side here.
What determines second and third and fourth bedroom? I mean, how do you know which one?
You just pick them.
You just pick them?
Yeah, just pick them. Yeah, because you'll have 4, and you got your primary.
Master, yeah.
Primary. Well, I don't really say master anymore. Primary.
Really?
And yeah. So we kind of got rid of that term, and so now it's primary bedroom, primary bathroom. and then you've got 3 bedrooms there.
It's about time, it took a long
Yeah, it
time
took a
to
while.
finally
Yeah.
like get rid of that
Yeah.
master thing.
Really?
But then you'll just say, hey, this is bedroom 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes they're all the same. They've got a window, they've got a closet, they're not walk-in, they've got a fan, like, you're just kinda guessing. But then you're measuring, so if somebody walks in and like, whoa, this is a small room, it's 9 by 9, but the other ones are like 12 by 12, then you're like, oh, this must be, bedroom number 3, if they're looking at your measurements. But this one being just a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, what happens is it starts out with this first one, so there's a drop down. Primary bedroom, so it gives you drop down, and I usually just go in order. I go to the primary bedroom, I pick that, and then I just designate, I click on anything that is included in the primary bedroom. Click on that, and then I add the dimensions, and that's an 11 with the letter X, and then the 12. That's how you get the dimensions in there. Then,
Do width first?
what's that?
Do you typically do width first?
I don't know. Yeah. I just go, however I'm measuring my room, I just put it down there. I don't really,
Are those already in county records, like for each bedroom, or we physically have to measure
I'm
them?
physically measuring with my laser measure.
For your laser measure?
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I get it because like, sometimes like, if I'm holding it and they're over there, like I just like wall, I put it on there, push the button, bing, laser, call it good. You go to Home Depot and Lowe's, get one of those laser printer. Again, I've had mine for 19 years, it works great. Another girl said I've gone through 3 of them in 5 years. It's a hit or miss, but I use it for everything, because people are like, how big is the garage? Well, how tall is this? So I'm like, okay, well, this is how tall it is, I carry it everywhere because people want to know about it. They buy houses around, will my dining table fit in here, So I just carry it whenever I go show homes or whenever I'm taking listings. And then whatever it says, I just write down, pop it in there, so maybe there's a right way to do it, or maybe I'm doing it wrong, I don't know. I just putting it in there.
Just curious.
So, and then I go into the primary bath, if it's a double sink, if there's low flow, all that kind of stuff. I don't measure the bathroom, very difficult, so it is what it is, because is it one room, is it toilet area, like what are you measuring? So I just leave that one out, and as you notice, it's not yellow. So whatever you click will tell you if it needs, like the kitchen doesn't necessarily need measurements. But primary bathroom, the 2nd bedrooms, and then you put ceiling fan, ceiling light closet. Dining room does need the dimensions there. And then, so let me tell you with this, when you have a dining room and a living room that are connected, I just kind of go, okay, well, where would that end and where would this, okay, and then I usually I'll put a book on my stomach and then I'll just stand there, push my button, there it is, and then I'm like, okay, well, if I stand against the couch and then go to this wall, that's my dining area. There's no rhyme or reason to it, what would fit in this area. That's kind of how you designate it. And then you just kind of go down, but like as you see, so we did primary bedroom, primary bath, all the bedrooms there, then there's den, dining room, family room, kitchen, living room, loft, great room, media room. That's it, so anything that applies. And then you put them in there, and then I validate, which this one's kind of hard to, unless you forget something that's in yellow, there's not much to miss there. And then I save as incomplete. Then I log back in, and then I go to the financing. So let me make sure, so rooms, okay, yep. So page 4, that's where we're at, financing, HOA info, showing info. If it is a gated community, I like to personally call the HOA and ask them if they can put me on the box. If like it's a vacant home, put me on the box so I can buzz the people in, or if they have a gate code. This specific community changes their gate code every 30 days. So if I took the listing in the middle of October, and now here we are November 1st, I had to call today to get a new gate code, just to be able to get my people, because the appraiser hasn't been through, they want to do their final walkthrough, I don't want them stuck at the gate, so you just have to stay on top of that stuff. If they won't, like the community I live in will not give gate codes out. You have to live there, or somebody has to buzz you in. So at that point, I would call up and say, can you add me? I'm the listing agent, can you add me to there? Sometimes they don't want to add us realtors, and sometimes it takes 2 weeks to get yourself on that box. So you have to tell the sellers, hey, you know what, you're gonna have to buzz people in there. I just don't like them to be involved if they don't have to, because I know I answer my phone. Just because they know somebody's coming over, they're gonna put their phone down and run around and do things, and then maybe leave their phone in a drawer when they leave, and now the people can't get in. And it gets frustrating if they're outside the gate for 15, 20 minutes, they're gonna drive away. So I know I answer my phone. So I try to get myself on those boxes. If not, then, I'll just ask for a code. And then, with that code also, before I don't want to skip too far ahead, you're gonna have remarks for the public, and then you're gonna have agent-to-agent remarks. Don't ever put phone numbers or gate codes, anything personal in those public remarks. That would all go in the agent remarks. Hey, gate code is this. But we also have a spot on the bottom of the MLS that says gate code. Sometimes if I don't actually have a code, I'll put up there, dial *260, and that will buzz me and I can let you in just so they know what's happening. But don't ever put it in public remarks. They don't need that stuff. You'll get, actually, believe you'll get fined for that because you can't give, that personal information out. All right, so then you go down here, and so it says, is there association, yes or no? Yes. You need the association name, you need the association phone number. Is it a master plan fee? What's the association fee, and is it, how often do they charge it? Monthly, quarterly, yearly? So you have to mark that. I messed that up. And then, if there's a second association, if there's a master plan fee, so you just kind of go along with it. And then what's included? You've got maximum eight of these things that are included in your association, so make sure you include that. Then it talks about SIDS and LIDs, and the class yesterday talked about where we find those balances. You have to go online and search that to find out if there's a SID and LID balance. And you're gonna type all of that in there. And then we get into, I guess you can do this. Annual property tax, this will auto-populate, so you don't have to worry about that. Then we'll go into earnest money. Okay. Anybody have an idea of earnest money? Like how much you charge?
2% of the listing,
See, I myself, I don't use any kind of those rules. I do, what did I put in here? Anything from like, there's no set rule, but I like to do $3,000 to $5,000 for anything like 400,000 under. And then, 5,000 to 8,000 for anything like 900,000. And then above that, you can go 10,000, you can go 20,000. When you get into the millions, you're like, the 25, 30, 50, $100,000, just depending on what kind of a property that you have. But I mean, there are some just standard homes that are just $1 million. Do you wanna charge them $100,000? Just, you don't, as an earnest money. That's like, nobody's gonna leave that for you. And it's all negotiable. Just cause I'm asking for 3,000, they might only give me 1,000. And then I can say, I can counter them back and say, hey, you need to deposit more. But that's just kind of like a general idea of how, pricing wise, there's no, maybe there is a set rule, but I just kind of like, what would I want my buyers to do? If it's something that, hey, it just keeps falling out and these people keep walking away, now's the time I have to put a little bit more, and I have to, stick with that, because if these buyers walk away, they've already lost so much time, so you gotta think about the whole situation. And then we go into financing considered. Cash, conventional, FHA, VA, assumable, like this is where you're gonna mark all that kind of stuff. FIRPTA, everybody know what a FIRPTA? Foreign investor? Yeah. So if your seller is a foreign investor, you need to mark that. So we have to disclose that. And then we go into possession description. What that means is once it closes, when are they gonna gain keys to the property? It's by agreement, so many days after, are they doing a lease back, what's going on, but close of escrow, current lease agreement, upon completion date if it's a brand new home being built, so you're gonna put that in there. Then we go into lockbox types. You have electronic, manual, none, other, whatever. Hopefully you guys are all using electronic lockboxes. You might not have them just yet. The electronic lockboxes are great because the minute you log in there, it lets you know who's logging into your box. And it gives you a text and an email, so then you can contact that agent. The manual ones, I only like to put on there if there's I know some kind of construction needs to be done, and I don't want them messing with my electronic ones. I still will send them to my electronic ones so I know when they've arrived, but for the most part, that would be the only time you would use. We saw back in the day a lot of foreclosure properties. They had 100 properties. They just couldn't get their hands on the lockboxes, but.
The guy who does the inspection report, do they have the access to the electric lockbox?
A good company does.
Huh?
A good company does.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so you want to use somebody that's reputable like that, and they have to go in through the LVR and get licensed to get all of that, but they don't have their own boxes, but they have our boxes. So it'll tell you as soon as they log in, you know, waiting home inspection. So I know.
As a agent, if I get a listing, do I gotta just run down and purchase one real quick?
I have 5. Well, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But you gotta hope that they
Beeline.
have them too, because sometimes they run out. So that's why I say, if you.
You're like 180 for the electronic ones?
Like, should we be doing it already, or?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people wait till they get their first listing. The problem is if you borrow like Tim's, then it's registered to Tim, so
Wendy's got 5.
I got 5 and I don't always have them, like right now I've got them on other people's listings, and so I was like, I have none.
We're kidding.
Yeah, but I'm saying like, so Tim has some like available, and so we'll loan them out, but the problem is that anytime somebody accesses it, Tim gets the notification, and he can just silence those, cause he's like, I don't know what property this is on, so you guys won't get the notification, he's not paying attention to the notifications, and what I like to do is I get that notification during the day, and at 7 o'clock, you know, I'm calling them in the afternoon, and then at 7 o'clock I report back to my seller, somebody came through your house. Well, now I have to hope to call Tim, and then he has to pull up his box, and then it becomes a convoluted mess. So it's great for a temporary, we'll like, hey, put it on there, and then go down there, or hey, if they're out, but they're coming in on Tuesday, we'll put my box on there, and then you guys go get some of your, you know, one of your own. Again, I like to have at least 2, because sometimes the batteries go out. They'll replace them for you for free, but if your battery's out, your battery's out. You know, what are you gonna do? So I switch them out, and then I'll go take it down, because you have to physically take the box down there and say, my battery's not working, what's going on? Now, placement of those lock boxes are important, because if you put it on a gas meter, the gas company can't cut it off. And if they cut it off, nobody's fixing that for you. That's just $180 down the drain. You know, but sometimes I have to say, there's nowhere else to put these boxes on the properties. So that is always my last resort. But if they don't have one of the handles that come around that I can hang it, a security gate, a little fence, the side fence, there's so many, don't put it on the water spigot. A lot of people put an electronic lockbox on the water spigot, and if somebody turns it on and it drips, it's just gonna fry it. But they're like, there's nowhere else, and they're so afraid of getting it cut off, they're like, I'll put it on the water spigot. Well, what's the lesser of the 2 evils? I don't know. But try to find somewhere. People will just like hang them on the garage door. Well, yeah, you can lift that off. Like, be smart about it. Make sure that it's on there. You clasp it on there, and you can't get it off. I like to hide it. I don't want to put it right there out in the open, because if some person wants to break in, they're like, oh, here, let me just knock this box off. You want to, you know, you're responsible for that property, so you want to kind of keep those keys hidden behind plants and things, but don't put it behind, like, way down there, and I have to climb through all these trees and bushes to get this box, because I don't know if there's bugs or snakes or whatever, you know. Make sure it's accessible, but just out of sight if we can. But it's hard. The placement of the boxes are hard, because sometimes it's just very limited. But anyway, so then it'll ask you, where did you put it? I'll put this one on the staircase. Then it asks you about photos. It gives you a drop down. Agent uploading, or there's no photos. Agent needs to submit photo exclusion, okay. Well, the problem with that, I believe you have to have at least 1 photo of the front. But then the rest of the photos, it's like, no, we're not putting it up there, the tenant doesn't want photos, whatever it may be, but I always pick, the agent will upload, because that's what I do. And I'm just waiting for them to send them to me. But now we go into the commissions, and then the showing. So right here is where you would put your co-op for your other side, or if there's a flat fee, or if there's a buyer incentive. The buyer incentive would be if you know, make a full price offer by the end of the week, you'll get an extra $1,000 incentive or whatever. But it's very rare that you'll see that, but sometimes you could offer that. Commission excluded, which means you're not offering a commission. I believe that's what that means. I just know is that. Let's see. If seller wishes to exclude a specific participant or subscriber from compensation, he may do so in writing. Listing agent shall notify in writing said excluded participant or subscriber in the MLS immediately upon receipt. Such information will remain confidential and shall not be. So I don't know who you would exclude, but obviously there's a button for it. If you don't know what something is, there's these little check marks, and most of them will give you an explanation. Some of them, it's blank. So I don't know what the point of it, but commission variable. Now that just means, look, if a variable commission does not affect what the buyer broker is being paid regardless of the The only situation when a variable commission can be offered is if there's different commission paid to list broker office procures the sale of the lease of the property. So what I believe that is if you bring your neighbor or your cousin, I'll do it for 1% or 2% or whatever it is that I'm gonna do. But if I find him, I'm gonna get X%. So that's where it's a variable. And that's where you would put it, but most of the time it's no, hey, this is how it is. But then you put the residence information. If it's vacant, I like to put vacant, and then I put my phone number, because I want them to call me. And am I the owner, is the owner the licensee? Showing descriptions, we've gone over this many times. Appointment, if there's somebody living in it and they're like, hey, I can only show, I need to know, like I have to set an appointment. Key any is, you can only use when?
If it's vacant.
Vacant, yes. That is the only time you can use key any. Because if there's anybody that's staying there or they come and go, you have to set an appointment or key call or whatever. You will get fined. It was $250 if you put key any and there's somebody living in that house. Key call, which means, hey, you can go by any time, but you gotta call me first, just so I know. You'll see that a lot with.
Even if it's vacant, you could probably put that down?
You can put key call,
Yeah.
and that's just so I know that somebody's heading over there, you know, and again, if there's an alarm, just call me first and I'll set the alarm from afar, or just alarm, alarm it. Showing, and there's no showings, you'll see that a lot when there's tenants in there. There's tenant occupied, no showings, can't see it, so you'll put in the agent to agent remarks, no showing, make an offer, submit the offer, and then we can set up a time to show, because the tenants, that's when you know the tenants are being not cooperative, and they're just not letting anybody in there, but by law, I believe on the contracts, if I have a legal binding contract, then they have to let me in or these people in. So, and then there's showing time. Again, if an agent puts showing time and you just decide to call or go by whenever you want, and they turn you in, that's a $250 fine. If it says showing time, you must use showing time. Most agents, the way I get around that is, you know what, I'm just calling before I set an appointment, are there any offers? So I'm calling to ask a question, and then I'll say, okay, would you like me to do a showing time to set that? I like showing time.
You'd be surprised how many agents come by, even though you put showing time, because I sold a house a couple of years ago here.
They just show on your doorstep.
Because I was living in the house, and they would just show up, knock on the door, and
Hey, I was driving by and I noticed the sign.
Yeah.
That's not how that works. You know, that like,
I
and
saw
I
it
was,
on the MLS, yeah.
yeah, and I always tell my clients, don't ever let anybody in. I leave a stack of my cards, here's my realtor's card, set an appointment with them. Nobody's coming in the house, I don't know who they are, if they're approved, like, nothing. So, I like showing time. I mean, there's some agents that are just strongly against it. I like it because then once I go in there and click on it, it sends that listing agent a text and an email, says somebody's requested a showing. I go in there and look, and then I say yes or no, and boom, done, and then it gets notified. And then once they're done, it usually will say, you know, it'll give an email that says feedback, what did you think of the property, and all that kind of stuff. I like it, but I don't care if they call me. I'm a little old school, so I like the phone. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, what do you, FHA, conventional, what are your buyers? You know, so I have a communication before they get there, but not everybody does that. So I put call or key any, call or showing time, whatever it is that I feel like for that. But in this one, you're only allowed to put a maximum of 1. So you just decide what you want to do. And then if you put showing time, you can say call before, I always do call before submitting an offer. Because sometimes they'll set the appointment, they'll go in, they'll send the offer, and they've never even talked to you. They don't tell you the offer's there, and it went to my spam 2 days later. I'm like, oh, look at this, I got an offer. Just communicate with the agents and let them know you're showing it. If you're gonna be writing an offer, I always call them after I show it and say, hey, I showed your property today, beautiful property, my clients love it, we're gonna be submitting an offer. Do you have any? Okay, just to let you know that we are submitting an offer, so I know that you might get other ones. In the meantime, just know mine is coming. So then that way they kind of hold off and they're not just accept something. So, and then showing additional, I always just put, like if it's vacant, I'll put in there vacant. Restrictions, if there's an alarm, and then it says see agent remarks, hey, call for the alarm code. Some people put the alarm code in the box, not great if it gets broken into, but, there's a bunch of different ways you can do things. And then down here, select showing description. Is it vacant, tenant occupied, or owner occupied? And then if there's a lease, you would always wanna put when the lease ends, that's super important, because if it's just 30 days, 60 days, you're fine, but if somebody's getting an FHA loan or a VA loan, they have to legally be in that property in less than 60 days. So if it's a tenant that's gonna be 90 days in that property, they can't buy that property, or we have to extend escrow to kind of, or if they're in it for a whole nother year, that's important, because they can't purchase that property, they cannot be a landlord. So, and then you wanna put it to have powers on. I can't stress this enough. Even if you get a vacant property, even if you get an investor, just leave all your utilities on. We can't do inspections, they need to be turned on for all of that stuff, so just tell them it's a cost. It's a cost that you have to hold all of those utilities on. The general rule is keep it on 3 days after it closes to give the buyers 3 days to, sometimes the utility companies don't see eye to eye, and then they shut it off, and then now they've got a reconnect fee when it was really just a push of the button. So I always let the agents know, hey, we're shutting utilities off 3 days, but after close of escrow, so make sure your buyers lined it up. After they haven't done it after 3 days, that's on them, that's plenty of time for them to do that. But they're not gonna, people are like, I don't wanna pay for that. Really, they're just leaving the lights on, they're probably not even living in the house yet, but just as a courtesy. So you don't want a whole family that has moved in and they don't have any services either, so. Then you're gonna put if it's gated, if there's a gate code. IDX means if it's on the internet, the MLS. If it says internet, yes or no, public address, yes or no, it matters, because there's some people that you'll take a listing, they're like, I don't want my address known. It's kind of hard to sell a house. But yeah, then they'll say commentary on AVN, which is like that Zestimate Zillow, and just the value. And then the commentary, you're like, okay, I don't want any commentary. Well, they're just gonna let them know that it's 4 bedroom, 3 bath. No, don't want any commentary. So you'll just see a picture and the price, no commentary. So you have to put, and there's in your listing agreement that it spells all that out. So if they put yes or no, that's what you have to follow. So there's a bunch of forms that you have to take to compile to put all this information in there. If it went to auction, you're gonna fill in these auction ones. And then if your photographer gives you a virtual tour link, there's a bunch of different places to put that in there. There's a virtual tour, and then there's a branded virtual tour. The branded one, we don't like to really use, because now they click on it, now your information's going around there, for whatever reason, they don't like us to have it branded. So you're gonna wanna just put the plain one. Most of them will just send you a blank one. The branded one is for you to use on your own personal website, but this is just, again, just your own non-branded one. Then I'm gonna validate, and then I'm gonna save as incomplete, and then I'm gonna log back in and go to agent office and agent info. Okay. So you're gonna put your public ID number. So you guys are gonna have a division license number and a public ID number. The division license number is the first license, the number that you're gonna get from the division that you have to wait 6 to 8 weeks for. They get that. That's gonna be on everything. Your public ID, your PID, you'll hear it just say, what's your PID? Public ID number. And that's what you get when you go to the LVR. They're gonna put you in the MLS system, and they're gonna give you a public ID number. And that ID number identifies you. Whenever you log into your MLS system, it's gonna be on your MLS sheets. When you have a listing, it's gonna be everywhere, right? So you put that in there, all of your contact information. This just talks about if you're on a team, are you a licensed realtor? Because there's a difference between real estate agents and realtor. So if you're a realtor, you're gonna put yes, which we are. Do you own any agent ownership in the property at all? Attribution, I always just put my phone number. This is one of those that no rule help message. So we're not quite sure, like whatever it is. So I just put phone number, because my phone number's everywhere. Just, I think it's phone number or email. Yeah, so just whatever, call me for whatever that means. And then team, if you have a team, this is gonna be your team contact information. So then I validate, save as incomplete, and then you go over to your remarks. Let me make sure. Page 5, okay. Here's where we have public remarks for everybody to see, and that's what's gonna get syndicated everywhere. So you wanna they only give you so many characters. So when you start running out of characters, take that space away after the period, and you're gonna use and symbol instead of spelling out and with, you'll see a W/. Like, you just kind of cut it down as much as you can to get all your information in there. You can do C-fans instead of ceiling fans, but make sure when you're kind of like, doing abbreviations, we all kind of figure out what that means, because I've called them like, what is that? I'm like, oh, I didn't get that, you know, so we wanna make sure that we can, all understand what that means. But then you'll have agent-to-agent remarks. I've got original owners, building number 48, unit 2190, thank you for showing, title's been started with Jennifer Croft, a rock title, 30% savings, da, 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 da. I'll put, please call before submitting your offer, and thank you for showing. And then I do that because I wanna know what kind of buyer that we have, you know, how qualified are they, have they been pre-approved, what title company are they thinking about using, you know, I started asking them all these questions. But then if I have some information about my seller, like, hey, they're looking to do a rent back, or just because they're building a new home and they need to stay in there, is it something that you guys can do? Okay, please write that in your offer. So if they want, I want them to call and say, hey, we want to include that couch, you know, okay, well, let's do that outside, like, you know, so we're talking about all of that before they write the offer. You're trying to alleviate going back and forth so many times with these offers. So anything you can put in those agent-to-agent remarks, but this is where I would put phone numbers or gate codes or anything that, hey, there's an alarm on, the alarm code is this, whatever it is, but, because on your MLS sheets, you will never, ever, ever give out that agent brochure or agent full view, because that's where it's got your gate codes, your alarm codes, everything, so you will get fined if you do that, so do not give that code out, and that form out, but the one with the picture on it, all that's fine, just make sure whatever you give somebody does not have anybody's personal, the seller's personal information in there. And then you're gonna do directions. This is really hard for realtors, I don't understand why. So, what I do when I'm taking my listing is, when I'm driving there, I'm making notes, and then when I'm sitting in front of it, I will pull it up, and I will, wherever I'm at, I will put it in my navigation, and I'll hit go. And then I'm like, okay, what's a major cross streets? What's the major freeway, you know, from Ann 95, you're gonna get off at Ann 95 and go right, east, you know, like, 'cause north, south, east, west confuses everybody too. So get off at Ann 95, go right, turn left at this light, or, you know, on Buffalo, or wherever you're going, you know, that's a totally different direction. But anyways, you're gonna, you know, you're going to be as descriptive as possible. I've had some that says west side. Well, okay, great. Not like that's all it says. I had one that said South Fort Apache, and it was North Fort Apache. You know, like they're all over the place.
But people just use maps most of the time now, right?
You would think, but it's still, having this in there, those remarks get syndicated as well. So now you got people that might not be from this state going, oh, they said South Fort Apache, that'll put me down there. Like, they don't understand, and if they're a little bit older, they're not using it either. So people rely on that, so that's why it's yellow, super important. The agent remarks are optional, but the public remarks and then the directions are not optional. You have to do that. But, so anyways, once you fill all that out, you will from time to time get notifications that'll say, I don't think it pops up right when you do it, but once you go live, they review these at the division, the MLS, the LVR, and if they see something in there, they will give you a notification. I think it's 24 hours to fix it. If not, they'll start finding you. And if it's something that's teetering on like fair housing, and I think even if it's master, if you put master in there, they might come back at you and say, hey, that needs to be changed. So there's little things like that that let you know.
Oh, really?
Do not not respond. Because we had an agent that did, last year, I believe it was, she got a notification because you put a start date and an end date in there. Well, it got extended, and she didn't extend it because you have to go in there and extend it. And they'll tell you, your listing is set to expire in 3 days. It will let you know. And if you don't adjust it, and it goes past, if you don't fix it, they give you a warning. Well, I think she got 2 or 3 warnings, it still didn't. She was $100, $100. And she's like, now what? And I'm like, why did you not respond? She's like, I just didn't open the email. You've got to open the emails. You have got to open them. If it's coming from the LVR, you know, and the emails. But we get inundated with so much, guys. That's why I say keep a separate email just for your real estate stuff. And then just keep your regular email for all the other stuff. But everything here is real estate related because you need to open all those emails. You don't know who it's coming from. But so just keep an eye on that. Because it's hard for us at Realty One to watch all of that. Like, we're not watching all your listings and your expiration dates and all that. You think about that. We've got 600 agents just in this office alone. we can't watch everybody's expiration date, so you have to take responsibility for that, but that's where they come in and they're like, hey, it's expiring in 3 days. If you ignored it, that's on you. But they'll give you a notification, hey, just so you know, you're past due. You need to attend to that, so then at that point, I would validate, and then save as incomplete. So, I'm just gonna, since here, then I wanna go into, I think I touched upon everything here. So once you save as incomplete, you're gonna get this screen here. This is gonna be your MLS number for the property. And that's why I say you don't really wanna do it like a week out. I don't wanna do it Monday when it's going on Saturday, because you know how many more listings we're gonna get in the meantime. Now I look like an older listing. It's only a week, but still, I wanna be fresh, the freshest number possible. So I can go back in here, once I save as incomplete the first time, it's gonna bring me to the screen. You can click on this and it's gonna bring you to your agent full view. And I always look at this before I hit submit and go online, because like I said in one of my other classes, it was like $490 and I put 49,000, you know, and I look at everything else, but I'm like, how did I get the pricing wrong? Bless you. And I didn't, but everything else you look at. I go through line by line, is this correct, is that correct? I go all the way down here, balcony, microwave, whatever is in there. I make sure it's correct, I make sure the phone numbers are correct, and then you just kind of go through. All right, vacant, no show. Oh, did I have that in no show? Okay, anyways. So, I must have changed that over, but, anyways, because I've got under contract, no show. So once it goes under contract, I like to put my properties under contract, no show, and I let my sellers decide. But my thinking is, if I'm buying a house, I make an offer on the house, they accept it, I don't wanna have people still traipsing through my house. You know, they're dirtying the carpet, they're bringing, you know, like anything can happen, they can leave it open, it's vandalized, the wind blow in. So as a courtesy to the buyers, I always do no show, and then if it goes out, I put it back on the market, but just so people aren't constantly going through the home, because guess what? If it falls out, I'm gonna put it back on the market, and then it's gonna be open for everybody to make that offer. If they give me an offer while it's under contract, I can't act on that offer anyways, I'm already under contract, so to me, I just tell the difference between them two to my sellers, but most of the time we do under contract, no show. But so anyways, you'll go back and you'll get here and you'll make sure everything's good. But now I wanna add photos, right? So, also, when you validate at the very top, it's gonna give you these red exclamation points that say something on this page, because you know how it had all those tabs, page 1, 2, like general and financing and all that. It'll have a red exclamation point that says something on that page needs attention. So you'll click on there, it'll bring you to the page, and you just scroll down until you see that red exclamation point and fill it in. But so now, once we did that, we're gonna go to the, adding the photos. Okay, so you'll go back up to add and edit, and then it brings me to this one. I'm not adding new now, so I'm gonna go to my drop down and just pick which listing I want, which would be this one. And then it brings you to this. Now I've got all of these things that I can do. So there's listing input if I wanna add more, but right down here, where did it go? Down here is manage photos. That's where you're gonna upload. So once the photographer gives me my photos, I'm gonna save them all to my desktop, and then I come in here, I hit browse, and it brings me to my desktop, and I just add them all in there. And so it puts them all in here. So now, if I don't like the order they are in, you're just gonna hover, and once you get that thing, you can move them all around. You know, whichever order that you want. But with that, you'll also get a drop down. So underneath every picture is gonna be a drop down, and this one is the front of the structure. This one is the kitchen, so I'll drop down, I find kitchen, and I put the kitchen down there. Oops, now it just went off, okay, so we'll put that there. So then also, underneath that is a place for me to write a description. As much information as I can give people. So if you notice, I'll put like in the kitchen here. Kitchen is overlooking the living room. Stainless steel appliances, I find something in every picture to note. Even if it's the same, you know, it's a different shot, but it's the same thing, like I really have nothing else, I'll still try to put something in there. Kitchen. It's just kitchen. Because these are the pictures that are getting syndicated. I don't know how every other website's gonna show that. Are they gonna show that word kitchen up there, or are they gonna show just the stainless steel appliance? I have no idea. So I put as much in there. And then once that's done, you'll certify and save. And once you do that, it just makes sure, if you've got very low resolution pictures, it's gonna let you know. And some of them will not save through, because they don't want really yucky pictures, but we've all seen them on the MLS. But for the most part, they'll try to pass all of them through, but you always wanna get higher end pictures, because you've got one shot to pull them into the property. So these are grayed out, so it won't let me do anything, but, there are no changes, okay, so I just need to cancel. So now let's pull up this property, okay. But it won't let me do anything else, okay. And it just kinda yells at you. Also, I wanted to let you know, if you guys are gonna schedule open houses for your listing, there's a thing right here. You're gonna click on open houses. I know we're jumping the gun, but I saw this on here. And this is where you would add it, what type. I always put public, it's a public open house. And then I put the dates, I put the times to and from, active, you're gonna wanna mark yes. When you do that, it puts a little icon on the MLS with a little door showing an open door. So then that way anybody, it'll get syndicated out, so everybody's like looking for just open houses, yours will come up, okay? So anyways, let me get out of here. Okay, we're good. So now let me go to, the actual property, so I can kind of show you what it looks, okay, so let's, before I go off of here. So now we've got that, we're all good. Once you save your photos, you're gonna go back in here. I'm gonna pick my property. And then, so we're like, okay, we know we're ready. You're gonna click residential input again. And then there's no red exclamation points up here, so I know I'm good. So I just come down here and I hit submit listing, and it says like, are you sure, or something like that. You say yes, and boom, you're on the market. Once I go on the market, I immediately email it to my sellers and said, we are active on the market. Please review this and make sure there's no changes I need to make right now. Because they'll see things like, oh, I don't have a microwave, I took that, all right, like, okay, let me take that out. Because if you say there's something in there and then there's not something in there, you're gonna probably have a dispute. So I always just kind of let me know, hey, you put a fan in bedroom 3, we don't have a fan, okay, awesome. So you just kind of adjust it, because we don't know everything, even though I marked it, I don't know it, but let's go in here and I wanna show you once you actually get it in there, so.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I have done all my forms for the buyers and listers on transaction desk. Some people get a remind document. What do you use?
I don't use Remind.
You don't use
Yeah, they
everything.
tried to get us to switch over about a year and a half ago,
Right.
and the majority of us agents, we took classes after class. I think they gave us a whole year to learn it, and by the end, we still didn't learn it.
Transaction desk, right? You use
No,
it.
yeah, well, I use transaction desk.
Right.
Remind, there's some people that try to use Remind. I just never did it. I think because I've been doing it for so long, I'm just so used to transaction desk to learn it. I'm like, it seems like it could be an easier system, but it didn't work for me.
Okay.
So they ended up getting rid of that. They were trying to make it mandatory, the LVR, and nobody adopted it. We just kind of all stayed with transaction desk. But, so now I pull the property up on the MLS, and I'm gonna click on the MLS number, and you'll know it's yours because it's got that little pen. So once you've got it here, okay, this is the agent to agent review, view, agent full view. And then, I like to go up here and do, where is it? Client brochure view. This is when I'm showing homes, this is the view I give. I print an agent full view for myself, and I put the client brochure view, and that's what I give them when we're looking at homes. Okay, because it's got a little picture so they know what the front looks like, but then it's got all the pertinent information. So if they wanted to look at these pictures, do you see how it says second floor unit? So all those little things that I typed in there, front of the building, number 48, here's the kitchen. And then living room and kitchen. I'll get into the kitchen here. Dining room, I put my little lemons. I put my, I do have Pellegrino bottles, I know that. They're in the back corner over there, I don't know if you can see them. It's just something that I do, I'll usually do 3 Pellegrino bottles, you can't really see them here. But I just put something a little here, that's my accessory staging that I do, like when I go into the bathrooms. See, again, this just says kitchen, didn't know what to put, so I just said kitchen. And then there's bedroom, primary bedroom. Anywhere I can add green, I'm adding green. My photographer moved those, I had one here and here, he didn't like it too close to the green. So that's what I'm saying, you get a photographer that is like, I think it looks better like over here. They'll kind of help, I brought in the shower curtain, just something to make it look homey, otherwise it's just a very stark white bathroom. You know, I've got my little towels, I put the little ties. Just, again, and it's very inexpensive, and I just reuse them over and over and over again.
Home goods.
Yeah, Home Goods, Target, Ross, TJ Maxx, IKEA, I get all these little plants from IKEA.
Yeah,
So the
they're
plant itself is
cheap.
$4.99 and this pot is $2.99, and I just keep reusing them, like it just kind of ties it all together, but a closet, and if you'll see laundry area, you know, and I brought little baskets, you know, just to kind of make it look a little bit more model home-ish, but there's nothing in there, like, so, but that's what I'm saying, is it tells you a little bit of a description, you take better photos, you put a little few things in there, and then you put a nice little description. And I go through each one, so once it hits the market, I'm like, did I spell it right? How does it look? Do I wanna put them in a different order? Cause again, like I said, they're pictures, you want them to flow. Don't put kitchen and bedroom and then kitchen again and then laundry, like, make it flow from when you're walking in the door and you turn this way and you turn all the way around. You're gonna have all these different pictures so they can piece it together and see themselves in the house. But then this is all the information that your clients are gonna, or the public's gonna get. And then I think that's it, and then once you're done, you'll always send it to them to review and make any changes. Print out this, the agent full view, so then that way you have it for your file, and that's what you're gonna upload into SkySlope. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how to get on this. What's going on? Sorry guys, I don't know what happened. I don't know how to get out of that, but now we can stop. So there's gonna be agent full view, and that's what you're gonna print out, and you're gonna upload it to SkySlope, and then I carry it with me. So if anybody calls me and I'm on the road, I'm like, oh, hold on, and I can pull it up and say, okay, this is the information, because I can't remember people's bedroom square footages and the square footage of the house and what the HOA features are, you know, so I always just keep that with me. You can take a picture of it and just say, let me pull it up real quick, and then you've got it. But, so you're gonna print that out, keep it in the file, keep it with you, and then make sure you find a good, add the lockbox to the house. You wanna add the lockbox to the house before you go live, because you can go live and within 20 minutes someone's gonna be at your house. You never know. And now there's no lockbox. And then they drove all the way over there, the clients are over there, and they're like, oh, I put the lockbox in there. Don't do that. So usually what happens is when I'm at the house doing the measurements with the photographer, is when I add the lockbox and leave that there. Then I go home, and within 24 hours I have my pictures, but I've already put it in the MLS and I hit good. So that way you're not going back and forth and back and forth. A lot of times too, I know what day that the photographer's coming. So he'll do his pictures, and then I try to coordinate the signpost. They come out and hang it. When the photographer leaves, I'll hang my sign, hang the lockbox, and then I leave. If not, you're going back and forth filling flyers and all that. I always do flyers like 2 or 3 days after, because I'll have my pictures, I put pictures, and I put the flyers in there. So there's a couple of different ways, but it's kinda, I try to avoid going back and forth and back and forth. So if you can try to get a nice order going. But other than that, that covers all of that. Anybody have any questions about inputting it into the MLS? If you haven't done a listing yet, it's tough, because you know, if you're not in the LBR or the MLS system yet, it's tough too, because you don't know how to navigate it. But I always say I'd like to put these here, so if you do get a listing and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and you can't reach us, at least you have these to follow through. So thanks for coming to the class, I appreciate it. Also, our mastermind group, Kim and I were talking yesterday, and we're thinking about next week doing, when everybody comes in, doing like little videos. I was gonna do a green screen, but I was like, you know, you don't really need to do a green screen. We've got all this really cool stuff on the walls. You can start doing weekly videos. If you want to come in every Monday and just stand against here or there or one of these pictures and then just say, hey, Monday stats, this is what's going on. But I thought, you know what, maybe let's just jump into the videos. I'm thinking I'm gonna do like a little 3 or 4 sentences. Hey, it's Monday, just want to give you a weekly stat, tape it, boom, done, you're gone, you can post it. Then the next person come in. Nobody is sharing, I mean, most of you don't have the same friends on your social media, so we can do the same thing over and over again, but then it gets people used to just doing it, seeing themselves on camera, and then what they want to change and what they don't want to change. But sometimes it takes just jumping in to do it, so I think that's what we're going to start working on, and then you guys can maybe start partnering out with going to the model homes or resale homes, whatever you want to do. But also I wanted to ask, does anybody have any ideas of other classes that you guys want to learn about?
So I had a quick question. When you say, well, when we have a listing of whatever we have versus how do you upload it to SkySlope?
So when you're on the mentee program for your first 3 transactions, you're gonna just email everything to Maria,
Right,
and she's gonna do it to SkySlope. So for your first transaction, she's gonna do it, and then you're gonna come behind and log into SkySlope and watch it.
okay,
The second transaction, she's gonna kind of sit with you and say, okay, you click this button, this one, this is how you do it. And then the third transaction, she lets you do it, and she goes behind and say, okay, next time do this and this and this. And then you're on your own after that, or you can hire her to just continually just
continue doing
email
this,
it.
what people do.
Yeah, and just upload your
When you're
own.
on the mentee program, I'm assuming someone's gonna walk you through this too? Or is there a class you can take that lets you do it one-on-one with somebody or something?
No, that's, if you go to
It's
the MLS.
pretty straightforward, but
yeah.
I mean, you still
Mhm.
will probably go up.
That's why I did this one, cause I had some agents that are like, hey, I watched all the videos, if you go to the LVR, they teach you how to go navigate through this, but there's nobody per se to sit there and walk you through it.
There
That's-
is.
Mhm.
There
Is there,
Yes.
to walk you through putting in a listing?
Yeah, on Monday, it's on Monday morning, there's this lady, she'll teach you anything in 3 hours.
At the LVR?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so I didn't realize they'll sit with you, like if you have a listing, you can bring it down there and she'll sit there with you?
very few people know about her, and she
So
just,
she's got the time.
yeah, and
Ah.
she's like, I'm available.
Is she the one that sits upstairs in the desk?
And her
the
name is
first-
Olivia or something like that,
So
and she's
super helpful
she's
lady.
really helpful.
I've not done that, but I can see that being her.
I think she's the one, like when you walk in, like you'll walk in, it's an empty room and she's watching in a camera and she just comes down and
Uh-huh.
helps you.
A little bit. So she sat down with me, I brought my computer, and then, we went on transaction desk, and then she did all the forms, she showed me all the forms to put for the buyers, for the sellers,
Uh-huh.
and then for the renters, whichever it is, so it's all set up, yeah.
Oh, nice. So yeah, maybe there is.
LVR would be the office that we went to put our application in?
No, that's the division.
The
So the
division.
LVR is off of what, Rainbow?
It's on Rainbow.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sunset.
I'm assuming that's MLS also? or
Yes.
no?
So once you get your division, your license in from the division, that's when you have 45 days to go down to the LVR and they'll put you into this system. So this is the MLS, transaction desk, everything is done through there. That's where it's like the $1,400 or $1,600. You have 45 days to get that done. Once they put you in there, you're in it and like live within 2 hours. But they can't do it until they get your division, your license number, then you go there. They have classes, you'll have to take like, I think it's an hour, 2 hour long class, and they swear you in as a realtor. And so then they'll have, you can do CE classes down there, there's lunch, there's a realtor store, and where you can buy signs, you can buy, like, manila folder, anything that you need to do your business. They even have the laser thing in there, I don't know how much it is, but they have, everything that you can possibly need, so that's the place that you wanna go for that. Now, I thought I'd do something like this because I have a lot of realtors, like, I don't know what to do, but that's where that save and complete button, when you're just putting in as much as you want, hit save and complete, and then that's when you call us. I don't know what to put in here, we just kind of walk you through, but at least you have the steps on how to get in there and start putting things. A save and complete button is your friend. Just hit it, save it, and then till you can get one of us on the phone, and then, but for us to sit down and manually do that.
But we could do it here and like
Yep,
run and
yep,
ask a question.
absolutely, yeah.
Assuming you're available.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if I missed a class, did you already do one on making offers if you have a buyer?
Yeah, so that was the first 4 weeks, and then I just transitioned into the listing.
Got it, okay.
And I don't remember what next week's class is. Oh, we got an offer, now what, how does it work, who opens escrow, when do you order HOA docs and all that kind of stuff. And then I was gonna do the listing checklist. Okay, we've got a listing, what happens, and then once we get an offer, what happens? And then we're gonna do, the next one was the buyer class. Okay, I made an offer, now what happens? Because when you're on the buyer side, it's like, am I opening escrow? How do I get the HOA docs? Who orders the home inspection? Who orders the appraisal? So I'll give you kind of like a checklist of what's gonna happen and when.
Did you send out a November calendar?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't. That's why I'm asking, I gotta get other classes in there, or I just start back over
I'll
from
just
the
start
front.
back over.
Well, so I was
I
gonna
mean,
do
it would
that.
be, I mean, seriously, sometimes it takes more than once.
Yeah, and so we have them saved, but I went through the YouTube yesterday and I only saw like 4 of them. So I was like, okay, I don't know if they're saved in another spot or whatnot. So I might just start back over in the buyer's one. It's just, like, I get, you know, the same 5 to 8 people, so I don't wanna keep repeating, cause you guys are the ones that are actually showing up, so I'm like, what do you guys wanna learn? You know, and then everybody else, we'll just keep learning and then just tape them, and then everybody else can watch the taped versions. So if there's any topics you guys want, just let me know. And usually you won't know until you're like in it, and you're like, by now I wanna learn about this. But if something comes, you know, strikes you, just let me know, email me, text me, and I'm like, okay, I'll make a class on it.
Talk about we were talking about business cards and then, you know, the one that I sent you with.
The digital, uh-huh.
So I sent you another one, you never responded. Can you see if that one works?
Yeah,
On the
okay,
mail?
let me shut this off and then we'll go into that, just so we're like taking this,
And then
because it's too long that it doesn't.
Quick, I'm doing